Hey guys, so this video is about a particular kind of mental approach to chess that I think could help a lot of people. I've had a few comments recently on videos where people have said, "Oh, you could have crushed that guy, you could have beaten that guy. Why didn't you take his knight in the opening? Why didn't you do this and that and the other?" And so I found myself responding a couple of times, well, you know, the point of playing lower rated players is to allow them to play so that you can see what the common weaknesses are or errors that are made at different levels. Not necessarily to win the game as quickly as possible. But that isn't really the best chess, in a sense, from my perspective. So what I thought it would be worth making is a video or even a series of videos about how to play with more evil, right? So what this is about, and it's a thought that I've been carrying in my head for quite a while, that we really do need to practice the mindset of finding the most unpleasant moves as possible to play against your opponent. So what that could mean is, it could mean attacking moves, or it could be moves to pin him down, frustrate him, not let him do his, not let him get his own, for example, plans executed, right? So what I'm going to try and do, so I'm playing somebody now. This is a 20-minute rapid game, just over 1,000 rated, okay? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try in this game to find the evilest moves that I can. I want to make life as hard as possible for my opponent, because that is me trying to play my best chess. Okay, so if you even carry the question in your mind, what's the most evil move I could do right now, then I think that will really help. And it's hard sometimes. It's hard to play somebody who's rated significantly lower than you, to, you know, put on your maximum evil. But likewise, when you're playing somebody who's a lot higher rated than you, it's easy to kind of tighten up and fail to find the absolute best move on the board, or to sit back and, you know, be too scared to attack and stuff like that. Which is why I think in general, just playing the players that chess.com serves up to you when you hit just new game, I think makes a lot more sense. So here we've got f6 has been played. Now, if the knight wasn't out already, hang on, is this the Ponziani? No, it's not the Ponziani. We came across this the other day, didn't we? Made a video on this, because there is a potential trap. So takes. No. So there's a couple of ideas. One is to push the knight, push the d-pawn, kick the knight away, and try and get some initiative. If this knight, was it with a knight? So I can't remember. Doesn't matter. It was somebody who documented this opening but didn't invent it, and then found that it was attached to his name. So I think kicking the knight at this point will make life a little bit difficult. Means I've gained some space. So I've got my first pawn into my opponent's territory. So he's going to have to move. Moving backwards in front, blocking in the queen and the bishop and potentially the knight is not a nice move. But likewise, to move forwards to here is not ideal either. I could simply capture and then get the extra pawn and the central control. So you see, if knight comes here, I've got knight takes, and if pawn takes and queen takes, we're in a good position. So I'm trying to hold on to the mindset of silent, appropriate level of contempt for my opponent. You know, really want to make things as hard as possible. So what are you going to play? Okay, knight to b4. So he's already been forced to move one of his developed pieces a second time. Now, if I kick the knight, I've got options. C3 is also a perfectly good option. He's not going to go to here, he's not going to go to there, he's not going to go to there, there or there, which only leaves him with the nasty looking A6. So let's kick the knight again. I've even got the option then of bishop takes, pawn takes with doubled isolated pawns on the A file, and white can then castle and carry on. So you kind of need to carry the same kind of mental approach into every game that you play, because if you are too much on the back foot, too reserved, too conservative when you're playing somebody who's higher rated, it doesn't matter whether it's 20 points or 200 points high rated, that may cause you to play in a blinkered way and not I'm going to wipe out all of his development in one go. He's moved that knight 1, 2, 3 times now, and now it's gone. So his development is gone. Right? He's got doubled isolated pawns on the A file. I could now castle straight away. I think that makes sense. There's no reason why not to. Yeah. So yeah, you want this kind of forward pressing. I'm going to make the most evil move possible. If you're playing somebody who's higher rated, you need to be open to the possibility that they may make mistakes. Right? You've got to be ready for that. And if you're not, I mean, I've played people who are higher rated who have simply blundered, and if you don't capitalize on it, you may only get one opportunity in a game. Okay, so again, I've kicked back his developed piece. 1 move, 2 moves. What I haven't done is finish my own development, so I'm thinking to get my knight onto maybe that square looks really good. It's a nice place for my knight. Might also develop my bishop to here just to reinforce the back of the pawn chain, or even bishop to there where potentially it might have some influence down the long diagonal. Let's move the bishop there for now. Yes, I've taken my foot off my opponent's neck for a moment, and this will allow him to do something. You see, now he's had to move his knight here because of this awkward pawn move at the start. So I think what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to attempt to crush this this bishop. I don't want to pre-move. If I can get these pawn moves in, that bishop's lost. But where's it going to go now? So he's going to have to move his knight again, I think, or this pawn, in order to give the bishop an escape. So let's just plough forwards with this snow plough idea. Right, so now I want to bring my knight into the game. Let's go there. I want to come here. Even maybe rook there and bring the knight around is a common pattern. So I want to come in now with an attack. I have murder on my mind. In fact, potentially, if I can move this knight away now, I've got pawn forwards, and then, if you look at this, pawn takes, the bishop is still won, because the bishop has no other squares. So, let's move the knight. I'm going to put it now on this square, yeah, with the idea of pawn push. Even if pawn takes, the bishop falls. Right, my ambition is to crush my opponent. I also find it particularly hard as well I think way harder to play your best chess against, and this is actually a mistake now, because that was the only other piece that was defending that square, and now we've come in for the bishop. So we're really going for the throat on this game. Yeah, so playing against opponents who are significantly lower rated or weaker than you, I think it's a real challenge as well. I think in a way it's harder to play your most evil chess against someone who's weaker than it is against someone who's stronger. At least playing someone who's stronger, you are very likely to want to dig deeper, and that's the great thing about playing stronger players. It forces you to the limits of your game and to find your best moves. So here now I've got two options. I can take with a knight And that kind of hits this bishop that actually has nowhere to go. And it puts my knight in a very nice advanced position on the 6th rank. Alternatively, I have takes with a queen, which is attacking this rook, but then the rook is simply going to move. So I'm figuring that moving the knight in there controls some very tasty squares, right deep in black's territory. So black is not having a happy time of this already. So I'm actually now a minor piece up for a pawn. Okay, he's coming for my pawn chain, but this is okay, we can handle that. I'm inclined not to take this bishop. I mean, that's a really bad bishop, and this is a really sexy knight. So let's not go there. Think about even b5, but then if pawn takes, I can't recapture with the knight. He's also looking to undouble these awkward pawns here. So I could just play bishop to c3 to slot my bishop into there. That's not a bad move. I mean, it's then lining up against this rook, which could be useful at some point. Okay, you've come in to attack a rook. Just move it. Suddenly now this bishop has come to life, because with the pawn there on a6, the bishop had nowhere to go. Now it's a stronger piece. Pawn takes, I've also then got pawn takes with the discovery against the bishop. So yeah, one of the hardest challenges, playing your most evil against a weaker player. And I think that's actually a really good exercise to try and do. You can go on to open challenges on chess.com. You can pick unrated matches, but to find somebody like 300 points lower rated and still play your best against them is a particularly difficult thing. I don't know if it's more of a British thing or not, but we'll see. Okay, I've got also a nice little outpost here for my knight if needed. Alright, so he's now brought his knight in here. The first question I have to ask is, why has he done that? So he can't go there. He can go there right now, because the only defender of that square is my queen, and he's got 2 pieces on that square. So he's coming at me, and I don't want to allow him to do that. What else can defend that square? I've only got like rook e3. Rook e3, knight could even come back, but I don't want to be playing defensive at this point. I want to really attack my opponent. Bishop there serves no purpose. The knight just comes in, attacks the rook, and the rook's actually then stuck with nowhere to go. So I think I'm going to have to move the rook there. If knight or bishop comes in, we just exchange, because it's 2 minor pieces for a rook. And that's in my favour. So I like where my knight is there. This knight's in a strong defensive position. That could be a weakening pawn move. It takes the f5 square away from my knight, but it also takes the defender away from that pawn. I have a check with the queen if I choose. Check with the queen, the king will have to move. Well, what are the options? Knight blocks, pawn takes, so no good. Knight blocks there is a retreat by the knight, and it pins the knight. Rook blocks doesn't work because knight takes, so let's have a go at that move. I don't see any major risk. It means no, knight still can't come in here. That's fine. Let's throw in that check. It's very easy to lose at chess by forgetting to attack at all. It's hard to win a game if by just defending. So, like I did this father-son grudge match series last night, and in the first 2 games, the dad played quite solid chess but didn't really ever execute an attack. At one point we had like opposite side castling, and I thought, right, now it's time to push your pawns up the board. But the dad played a little bit too slow, and son Ted was able to block off the pawn advance, for example. So developing the sense of when to attack, the right time to attack, can be, I think, very helpful. So now, of course, we've got only the rook defending these squares. So I'm just going to put my queen back, I think. The ability to frustrate your opponent and realise when it's an appropriate time to do that can also be useful. Play the best move, even if it's retreating, even if you're changing your mind, even if you're pulling something back. If it's the best move, if it's the move that best... Oh, I've just missed the trick there. Right? So I'm not playing my most evil. Check this out. Knight to f7, check, would have forced the exchange of the rook for the knight. Okay, so I'm thinking, I've moved my queen back. I didn't consider every move on the board, did I? Okay, these are too many pawn moves now. And look at this. Bam! Very weakening, right? As soon as I saw that, I thought, right, weakening pawn moves. What has changed? Every time you move a pawn, you are undefending two squares, right? Let's go back here. Okay, that pawn is currently protecting those two squares. Every time a pawn moves, you have to look what is now undefended that was defended before, and boom. Okay, king moves. Okay. Now, obviously, we have bishop takes knight, but we also have queen b3 check. But if queen b3 check, the knight has the opportunity to come to here to block the check and save itself. So I'm going to take the knight out of the equation first, then the check's going to come in because we are trying to be as evil as possible. Got a lovely outpost here for a knight if I want to. I can also bring this bishop into here, knight into here, queen into here, and you can see how quickly black's position is falling over, and it's all thanks to these unnecessary pawn moves that he's made around his king. You can see I have left the pawns around my king completely alone. They are a long way down my list of the things that I would consider moving. Alright, so it's Operation Crusher now. I don't just want to beat my opponent, I want to beat my opponent in with the most aggressive and beautiful and crushing and rapid win possible from this point. I've got 9 minutes on the clock. We've got time to think this through. Okay, the queen has come out to f6. Right, candidate moves. Queen to b3 check. Bishop to g5 kicks the queen. I quite like that idea. The knight is safe. Knight is protected by my queen. So actually I can't play the queen to... Oh, I can because it comes with check. So let's figure these out. Right, queen to b3 check. We've got queen blocks there or there. This is not an option because of the knight, so we'll take that one off. Well, queen blocks to this square. At that point, I'm 6 points. I'm actually 2 minor pieces up at this time. So I could just swap the queens off. I could even actually just play my bishop straight to there and kick the rook. Is there any benefit in that? Rook can't go there, can't go there. Or here. So the rook would actually have to come back to d8. Let's try that. It's pretty forcing. I can still play the bishop there, I can still play the queen there with check. Okay, he's found the only move, good. Let's play queen there now. So now I have half a claim on this square. I've got a knight and the queen looking at that square. Where's the king going to go? Okay, I would love to be able to put my bishop there. Is there any way of doing that? No, I can't get a knight to any of these squares to defend that square. So what else is possible? I think, look at that now, knight to there, comes with check, fork on the rook, and the queen cannot capture because the queen would be lost. So I think this forces the king to come back to here. I can then grab the rook with check, discover check from the queen. So the king's either going to have to move again or queen blocks. Where's the king got? Can't go there, there, or there. It's going to have to go back to h8 or block with the queen. Okay, and now let's throw in another check. I'm just rubbing his nose in it now. I'm being one evil son of a gun. Alright. Queen takes knight is now potentially an option. So what else can I do with my knight and discovered check to cause trouble? There's nothing that really jumps out. I've got here actually with discovered check and then bang, grab d7. Let's do that. Let's make it hurt. Now the king has to move back again to h8. This is like a seesaw thing. Okay, has he moved? He's moved. Alright, now capture on d7 with a fork on the queen and the rook. We are making this a living hell. That's the point. Oh! I didn't see that coming. Look at that. Brilliant. Okay, fortunately I have rook back here. And remember, when you're being evil isn't just about attacking. You've got to be evil in defense as well. Another trick here could be to get my bishop to that square now with a brilliant bishop fork on the king and queen. But the queen's going to move. But the queen is going to move back along this diagonal. But actually, where's she got? No, the queen has had to. The queen did not have a safe square. So that looked like a really good move. But black has traded now rook for 2 rooks for a queen, which is not a bad thing. Okay, now maximum evil I think could be queen to f7 with the threat of queen to g7 checkmate. I think the only way out would be rook there, and then I can bring my knight around to remove the rook. See, being evil isn't actually in my nature. So it's a skill that I have to practice deliberately. If you saw my video on like the guaranteed way to improve at chess, then there we go. What that talks about is finding the edge of your current chess ability, right? And then what you need to do is you need to internalize whatever it is. Am I missing checkmates? Am I missing attacking opportunities? Am I failing to spot this, that, and the other, right? So I think for me at the moment, considering every possible move on the board is important. I think there we've just seen that was potentially a blunder. If I didn't have those 2 pieces covering e1, that could have been checkmate in 1, right? Which is not the evil way. So I need to practice now. I know I need to practice winning at all costs in the most crushing way possible against players of every level. It's very important. And yeah, considering all the possible moves on the board to find the evilest move. And I think for me that's quite a useful touchstone to carry along with me. Might also work for you. But anyway, thank you for watching. If you haven't subscribed to Chess Bootcamp, please do subscribe, and I'll see you soon.